I'm a little bummed today. I was supposed to be talking to you about a really cool event I was supposed to be doing next week that would be from the north of Portugal to the south, 4 days, around 1,000 kilometers, 1,700 riders on the road, super really cool event, and that's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. The bike is completely delayed, some parts haven't arrived yet, some parts are still in the paint shop. It's just custom built bikes. They're great, but they take a huge chunk of your... So the question is, do you need a custom built bike for a world expedition? For those of you that are following the channel to know more tea, to know more about wine, or just to follow the expedition, I am sorry this episode just might not be for you, but still I'll tell you, subscribe down below, hit the little bell so you can get the notifications every time I get a new video out, and there will be specific content for you down the road. For now, we're gonna talk a little bit about bikes. So when it comes to adventure riding, when it comes to adventure bikes, when it comes to this world that I live in, if you buy something that's not specific for you, what's gonna happen is you're gonna end up not using it and saying that the product is no good. It's pointless. It's bad for the brand, it's bad for you, it's bad for everyone. It's better for you to spend the money you need to spend on your specific needs. In the end, you're gonna enjoy the product, you're gonna use it, you're gonna say good things about it, and when the next person comes around and asks you, is this good for me? You're gonna be able to tell them, depends, what do you do, what do you need to do? I started thinking I need a bike to do anything, so a single cylinder was not for me. Love them to death, they're super fun, even the 600-700 single cylinders are really fun to drive, and for me the vibration doesn't bother me much. But I like a little bit more power, I like a little bit more soul on the engine when it comes to high revving that the single cylinders just don't do. So for me my choice was the 800GS. Brilliant bike as far as I'm concerned, and it has an engine built by Rotax. Those guys build engine planes, so if that was good for a plane, it's good for my bike, it's good for me. Did I change some things in my engine? I did a little bit. Although I do like that extra power in high revs, I don't need a bike that does 210 kilometers an hour. I'm not gonna do that, I'm not racing, I'm going around the world exploring. So at tops I'm gonna do what, 140, 150. So I prefer to grab all that extra power and put it into torque. It's gonna be more suited towards my need. So I did change the exhaust, I did change the air take filters, I did change the air box, and I also changed electronically the engine. So I have two maps, one for high altitude, because tea plantations are often on high altitudes, and obviously I have one that's gonna be my day-to-day map that's just gonna adjust a little bit better the fuel, that's gonna adjust a little bit better the air for all the modifications that I did, and it's gonna keep the engine running smoothly. Suspension is crucial as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing that gives me a biggest peace of mind than knowing that if I read the terrain slightly wrong and I'm going a little bit way too fast or a little bit more distracted and the bike just hits a hole, hits a rock, hits a log, hits something, it's gonna jump, it's gonna move, but it's gonna land, and the suspension is gonna absorb what it needs to. It's not gonna head shake, it's not gonna throw me off the bike, and it's just gonna carry on. Spend your money wisely. If you are on a budget, second-hand suspensions, they're great. If you're not on a budget, buy new. But always remember it. Always keep in mind, as soon as you have them, and before you put them on your bike, take them to a specialist, tell them everything they need to know to adjust them for you. Nothing will feel as good as a suspension designed and adjusted for you. Rims. A lot of bikes come with really cool, good rims. Sadly, the 800 is not one of them. The rims on the bike are just too soft, too playable. For me, that doesn't work. I completely destroyed my first set of rims as soon as I took the bike out for a ride. So upgrading the rims really important, and when you do that, do not forget to also upgrade the spokes. Make sure they're a little bit thicker, make sure they're fairly sturdy, because the bike's gonna hit a lot, the bike's gonna be heavier than it is from stock, and you need to trust whatever it is that's holding your tires in place. Personally, I upgraded mine. I could not be happier. I've been riding this set of rims that I'm using right now for the last year and a half on all kinds of terrains, on all kinds of situations, and they are spotless, and I'm gonna take it as is for the whole trip because I have complete trust in them. If you are not comfortable on your bike, you're not gonna ride it at all, or when you do, you're gonna complain about everything, and that's pointless. It's pointless because when you're alone in the middle of nowhere, you have no one to complain except yourself. So prepare those things before you go. Personally, what I did is I replaced my footrests, so mine pivot, super comfortable, best thing I did. Then my seat, I made it thinner, a little bit lower, and with a different design that's gonna suit my needs way better. And I've also replaced my handlebars. I put some dampening on the handlebars so it absorbs a little bit more the vibration, and I'm using a twin wall handlebar that tends more to bend than to break when it falls down. I'm not Barreda board doing what he did a few years ago on the Dakar.
The Honda rider passed the second checkpoint with a broken handlebar caused by a crash. He lost 6 minutes from his lead over Mud Coma, half his time advantage.
But that also allows me to absorb a little bit more because it's a fat bar, it's 28 millimeters compared to the 22 that comes stock, and it does have a completely different sturdiness that does provide me with more confidence, that does in its turn provide me with more comfort. Comfort is key. The infamous lights. Should we put everything that the market has to offer? Should we put nothing? Should our bikes look like Christmas trees? As far as I'm concerned, no. There's more problems with a lot of lights than it is actual gains. With a lot of lights, and yes, you can go with LEDs, but with a lot of lights, you're gonna put a lot of strain in your electrical system. There's mainly two kinds of lights: spotlights that go really far and diffusers that go really wide. So, think about what you need. Personally, I upgraded mine for something that will allow me to see further down the line more than on the sides. Although a lot of times when I'm riding, I wish I had those little ones on the side, so I'm still thinking if I should put them or not. But for the kind of riding I am gonna do, for the kind of places I am gonna go, I still prefer to have only one, and that one I wanted to go further ahead than more on the sides. Fuel tanks. Fuel tanks are always a huge discussion when it comes to adventure bikes. Everyone says you need the biggest fuel tank you can get. No, you don't. You need to know where you're gonna go. Are you gonna go to a place where you know you're gonna find a fuel gas station every 15 kilometers, 100 kilometers? What's the point on taking 30 kilos of gas with you if you know every 100 meters there's a fuel pump? It's pointless. The bike gets heavier, gets bigger, gets wider. For what? The gas station is just there. Just there. Why? Why? My advice, check where you're going. Personally, I upgraded from a 16 liter to a 22 liter tank because I know I'm gonna be alone, and I am gonna be in a lot of places where there's not gonna be fuel for 300, 400, 500 kilometers. But this is a personal choice for a personal necessity. For you, do you need the extra capacity? Because don't forget, extra fuel comes with extra weight, extra size, and usually extra width on the bike. So pay attention to that. Panniers. Should I take those big aluminium panniers where I can stick all of those stickers and make it look super pretty? Or should I take something smaller, lighter, faster, like clothing, textile panniers, that for me is the trick. I want to go lighter and I want to go thinner. So those big aluminium have two big problems for me. First, they're huge and they're heavy, and that's a big no for me. And then I've seen a lot of riders that when they go down, their leg gets stuck on the pannier and it just breaks their leg, and there's no boots, there's no protection that can save it because it's an aluminium corner sticking on you. There's not a lot you can do to save yourself from that. On the other side, if I crash with textile panniers, the worst thing that can happen is gonna rip it off and I can sew it. Is it gonna be as good as it was from stock? No, not at all. But I didn't damage myself and I can still ride away. And on a day-to-day, it's gonna be smaller, it's gonna be lighter, and it will allow me to be more comfortable on the bike. That's my choice. It's an incredibly tedious work, but the wiring is completely redone, it's completely re-welded, and it's ready to take on the world. Tires, the much dreaded question, which tires should you use? If you spend more than 10 minutes on any forum on earth, from Horizons Unlimited, ADV Rider to the millions of groups that exist on Facebook, you know that the question you see the most is, I got this bike, what kind of tires should I use? You get one set of tires, you put 10 different riders on the same bike trying them, and you're gonna get 10 different feedbacks. I personally prefer tires that allow me to go really low air pressure. I prefer tires that are not really good off-road, they're not really good on road, but they're good enough on both situations. Ask, try, and then decide. Do not ask and decide that's the best one because someone told you it was. Go and try. In the end, the most important thing for me is, what do you need to do with your bike? What do you expect your bike to do for you? When you need to customize a bike, and I honestly believe you should, I believe everyone should, because the probability of you being yourself and going to a store and saying that's the one I want and that bike being brilliant for you is slim to none. It's your bike, it's your skill set, it's your necessities, so it needs to be your customization. As far as we're concerned, I'm pretty sure later on in the game I will be able to show you the bike all put together and pinpoint certain things that I modified for me, that I manufactured for me, and it will be a pleasure to talk more with you on that. And for now, I will ask you to comment down below, what modifications do you like on your bike? What modifications did you do or do you plan on doing in the future? That's gonna be the question for this week. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the little bell so you can get the notifications when I post a new movie. Do not forget to hit the big thumbs up, and do not forget that next Wednesday there's gonna be a whole new episode. So see you guys there. Whoosh!